So this took place on November 1st, 1975. The Mark family comprised of Leslie Mark, the father, who was 25. Georgine Mark, she of course was the wife, she was 25 as well. And they had 2 children, Julie, who was 5, and Jeff, who was almost 2. He was about a couple months away from turning 2. So this was a very well-liked family. No history of any kind of problems with anyone in the city or anything. Leslie's brother Jerry was 32 years old, so he was 7 years older than his brother Leslie. Jerry was arrested and convicted of the Mark family murders. So the reason kind of behind the murders, from what I've read, is that Jerry was pissed off that Leslie was given the rights and control of the family farm, which comprised of like a 17-bedroom farmhouse and I believe like 500 or 1,000 acres of land. It was a big piece of property, a big house, 17-bedroom house here in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Jerry lived in California at the time. The main piece of evidence that they found at the home was a cigarette butt, and supposedly had saliva that pertained to Jerry Mark. And so they pieced it together, and they thought, well, Jerry Mark must have been the one who committed the murders due to the fact that they found his saliva on a cigarette butt in the home. So the authorities say that Jerry Mark traveled all the way from California on his motorcycle to Cedar Falls, Iowa to commit the murders. A couple other things that were more circumstantial evidence that they kind of put together that they thought kind of tied Jerry to the murders was the fact that the bullets that were used in the murders were a very, very special, kind of unique caliber from a Colt. Jerry bought the same type of bullets, and so the same bullets were used. Jerry was in possession of these similar bullets that were very unique. And also, after the murders occurred, when they got Jerry in for questioning about it, he lied about a couple different things. And then it says that he was planning to write a book about a group called the Weather Underground, who were like a radical kind of group at that time. So in order to write the book, he said he had to purchase a very specific round of ammunition. This is what he said, quote, "My little brother screwed me out of the farm." After several decades of being in prison, they finally did some other DNA test results of the cigarette butts they found at the crime scene, and guess what? The saliva was not Jerry Mark's. So the only real piece of evidence they had were the cigarette butts, and they were not Jerry's. The family home of the Marks, where they were shot and killed, is basically where this field is across the street. The address was 5828 Union Street, Cedar Falls, Iowa. For whatever reason, it was torn down, maybe because no one wanted to buy it after the murders. I don't really have that information, but what I do know is this random piece of land, that is where the house was. Now, of course, this was November 1975, so again, 45 years ago, a lot has changed. I was trying to find if there was like an old driveway to, you know, to at least kind of verify the address here, but I can't even really tell that there was a driveway, unless the Google Maps put it on the wrong side of the road, because there's where my car is backed in, that's kind of like an old driveway. So it's very possible that Google Maps pinned the address on the wrong side of the road. It's possible that that field behind me is where the house was. I don't know for sure. I just pinpointed the address, and Google Maps said it's right here.